A very warm welcome to the channel and to this design analysis video of the Jaguar XJ. Why nice cars don't sell. The first XJ, the Series 1, was introduced in September 1968, and it was the last Jaguar sedan to be made under Sir William Lyons, which was, alongside William Walmsley, one of the two founders of the Coventry brand. The current Jaguar XJ, generation X351, was launched in 2009. The question I answer in this video: what happened to this regal car, used by the British royal family and prime ministers, amongst many other dignitaries? Well, let's start with XJ Series 1, this classic sedan. It's elegant, stretched, sympathetic and handsome. This XJ recipe remained virtually unchanged for many years. The XJ is, unlike several competitors, an approachable, friendly-looking, high-end luxury car. However, at its time, the Series 1 was a highly modern design, and that proved to be unique in Jaguar's model strategy in the years to come, because successors of the XJ Series 1 were consistently more conservative compared to the long-lasting names within other brands. Think of Volkswagen with the Golf, BMW with its 7 Series, and even Porsche with the 911. Although in basic form these brands remained true to the ideas of the first model, they mainly strive to create a modern interpretation of the essence of it. The XJ did not become more fresh with each iteration, but in a way only increasingly a caricature of itself. Of course, the XJ Series 2, the Series 3, the XJ40, the X300, the X308, the X350 and the X358 are very fine cars, but sadly none of them proved to be more than enough for the world they were meant for, and therefore all were little future-proof. The XJ40 is often the least loved limousine in the entire XJ series lineup. Unrightfully so. Low, long and beautifully horizontal, the XJ40 has a strong character of its own and has been the most forward-looking in all XJ generations apart from the current model. The XJ40 brings new shape ideas into the XJ character and dare to break with the obvious cues that made the first 3 series. The car is square and very sharply defined, which is typical of the 80s. But nevertheless, it features the characteristic elegance so typical of Jaguars, including softly sculpted hips and a refined, visually light body. The XJ40's more beloved successor, the X300, was actually nothing more than a major facelift and became a softer car, romantically harking back to the past. This car features an harmonious spectrum of shapes. The X300 is very three-dimensionally designed. No straight lines were allowed in the 90s Jaguar design studio. Unfortunately, this model is also a bit too classical. It is beautiful, and the retrospective elements that link with the Series 1 XJ are technically well applied, but strategically they were a bit less of a solid move. In the XJ generations that followed, most of them nice cars, sales went rapidly downhill. Beautiful cars simply don't sell. Relevant cars do. Not a subtle adjustment, but a radical change of course was needed for the 8th generation large Jaguar sedan. In comes X351, the last Jaguar XJ. Still long, low and wide. The car that only recently was taken out of production in July 2019 is not only still a real Jag, but above all, a modern XJ interpretation. Ian Callum had the nerve to send his team in a new, relevant direction. He had the courage to break with a large part of the somewhat dull but still very important XJ heritage. That history became so pressing that it was no longer a source of inspiration for the designers, but above anything, a burden. Especially the persuasiveness that was likely very much needed towards the board of directors of Jaguar is commendable. A good car designer doesn't just sketch well, or direct his steam well. He is able to communicate the needs of his ideas to those in charge. The iconic XJ double-rounded headlights were in fact reapplied in a new column XJ design, but now under glass. The reintroduction of the proud, upright high grille of the Series 1 makes X351 a confident business sedan. The grille lost its heavy chrome frame, which, despite the fact that it belongs to the XJ identity in the collective memory, was only introduced to the second generation XJ in '73. The first XJ had a radically modern grille at the time that was completely integrated into the body without a chrome surround. The grille in the last XJ is an homage to the daring push Mr. Lion showed with that Series 1 XJ. New DNA was also introduced by Cullen. The XJ's signature low and elongated body has always been organic and soft. It still is, but in this 8th interpretation it also has been given a slimmer waistline to accentuate the XJ's length and give it a more tailored look. The controversial rear was the biggest break from previous XJs. However, it is the embodiment of a wider Jaguar heritage. Despite the clear dynamic wedge shape in the profile of the X351, again a separation from the very droopy rear ends in the previous XJs, the car has a soft, typically English rear end. A somewhat hanging and heavy looking rear without any form of chrome on the boot lid skin. Very brave. Because chrome is the easiest way to try and make something look expensive. Another element of what must have been a massive struggle to push through to production is the black clad element on the C-pillars. It is applied to give the impression of a rear window flowing from side to side. And with that, the team not only introduced a unique rear window graphic, but also a new graphic to the roof. The design team at Jaguar did not want a handbag look, seen on almost all competitors with a glass roof, where the cantrails flow from the front to the back and are not connected anymore on the actual roof because it's completely black. The graphic on the XJ works especially well in a light body color. It was a very novel graphic, which was intended to be fully glass from side to side. Only later it was pushed to this solution by the cost cutters at Jaguar. It is nevertheless innovative and distinctive, as it makes the car directly, undeniably identifiable as an XJ. Its brand new Jaguar DNA communicated through something else than simply a headlight or a grille or taillight design. Very novel and refreshing indeed. Cullen's daring vision of the classic and outdated XJ DNA shocked internationally. The legendary traditional British customers expressed their anger to Cullen in letters. How did he have the audacity to do this to the Jaguar icon? Ian was crystal clear in his reply. Feel free to buy the X350 XJ, this classical looking then outgoing model. The car, he said, is made out of aluminium and will last you a lifetime. Regardless of the initial anxiety amongst both journalists and consumers alike about the last XJ, the design of the car, especially the much discussed stern, has actually not changed during the facelift. Cullen kept his foot down. Jaguar's initially daring move has clearly been appreciated by buyers, and despite fierce initial criticism, it has proven to be a wise decision to preserve the confidence in that far-reaching design choice. The design director of Jaguar stood for his team and his strategic design decisions. And for good reasons, because sometimes you have to lose customers to win a whole lot more. Without the XJ revolution, the brand could have never grown into what it is today.